Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Three Geeks podcast. Today, we actually only have three geeks, and should be a lot of fun to discuss. Wow. We have new to the show, Steven, stepping in as our producer, and then all the other stuff I told you I'd announce, I have to wait till next week to do with Max, so that'll be fun. Anyway, check out our buddy Arc Matter, Domo Batman at youtube.com/Arc Matter. Go to youtube.com/Mike McGTV to get his in-depth review of Avengers Infinity War. Lots of cool stuff. The link to that is actually in the description of this video. Go to audibletrial.com/3 geeks. It was brought to my attention today that books cause cancer. Our friend Rondell, who you know pops on from time to time whenever we have a black superhero movie, but Rondell mentioned that books cause cancer because a lot of people like to read outside. If you're reading outside and it's sunny, you're getting skin cancer as you're reading. And the solution to that is audibletrial.com/3 geeks.
Listen to it in your house.
That's right.
You see? I mean, do you not have enough lighting to read that you have to go outside?
Speaking of Rondell, he's here.
Yeah.
And sit on your microwave while you're doing it too.
Yeah, because then you can get medical marijuana from your giant testes.
We're gonna let Rondell get set up real quick. Steven, can you see if there's a chair over there? This is a pleasant surprise. We never got actual confirmation that Rondell was going to show up, but there was technically a black guy in this superhero film, so Rondell is here to give us his thoughts. You saw Infinity War, right, Rondell?
What?
You saw Infinity War? You saw Infinity
I'd say there's more than one black guy in this movie.
Yeah. I was gonna say that, and then I was gonna see the train wreck here. So it's gonna
quite a few. Anyway, Max, be safe out there. Don't go do any hunting with your car or your sister's car or anybody's car.
That's interesting.
Yeah, well, he's okay. The deer, he said, may or may not be. He went back and the deer was gone, but he's pretty sure the deer eventually died, which is tragic. I told him he's a Disney villain now. He killed Bambi.
It's tragic.
It was, or maybe the deer was raptured like half of the universe was.
Yeah, there you go.
Just a pile of leaves and dust.
Spoiler alert for Avengers Infinity War. We will be talking about that today.
Well, it's a spoiler alert now that you said that. No one would know what I was talking about unless
people just thought it was the actual rapture for a second there.
I was referencing the actual rapture.
Yeah.
Well, after a bunch of
I'd still be here. Sorry.
After a bunch of incorrect stories this morning about the box office, the official box office numbers are in. Avengers Infinity War has beaten Star Wars The Force Awakens as the all-time opening for a movie ever for the weekend. So kudos. They did $250 million, which is $4 million higher than Star Wars Force Awakens. Mike is laughing. Why are you laughing, Mike?
I thought you said Cluedos. Sorry.
What's that? Yeah, absolutely. You should plug that over here. So, Rondell, what were your thoughts of Infinity War? You glad to see that it beat Star Wars? I personally am because I liked it more. You can't hear me?
Nope.
You can hear me. I'm sitting next to you.
I enjoyed the movie.
First,
my initial impression as I'm watching the movie, I felt like I was watching some type of interpretation of Star Wars with the random, with the cutscene ending that they cut to a different scene. It felt like I was watching Star Wars, and I was like, okay, this is a little weird. But other than that, I actually enjoyed the movie. Hulk was a little hilarious to me.
Oh my God, he had PTSD from finding Thanos. He did not want to come out.
That cracked me up throughout the movie. There was another scene.
Come on, Hulk, and then he'd halfway come out and he'd go away. Damn it!
Disappeared. That was hilarious. And then when spoiler, when Thor goes to get a new weapon, I'm looking, I'm like, whoa, Trask! He's a giant.
Isn't that great? That was great casting.
That was awesome. So yeah, I enjoyed the movie though. I wasn't left at the ending with like, it wasn't, I guess I was expecting to have some type of cliffhanger that made me basically want to beg, like, oh, come on, bring on the next one. I didn't get that feeling at the end, but I enjoyed it.
My kids were like, "Can we go to the next one out?" I'm like, "No, you have to wait."
Nice.
Dan, what'd you think of the movie?
I liked it a lot, honestly. I like the darker tone. As I said on the chat, I felt sorry for this like 8-year-old behind me, because he's like he starts out and he's like, "Yay, Avengers, yay!" And his dad's like basically has to restrain him in the chair, and he's like, "Oh wow, it's Doctor Strange" and stuff. And then like halfway through the movie, he just goes silent. I'm like, "Yeah, kid, yeah." But I actually really liked it. At the end, I was all sad that Doctor Strange got raptured away. There's a spoiler for you. Because Doctor Strange and Thor are my guys in those. But yeah, I can't really think of much I would have done differently. It was good. It was good. I liked it. I'm not looking for like heavy thought here, so yeah.
Mike, I know that you have your review up on your channel. We want to give our people a quick.
Well, I might as well give you my full-on thoughts, because I did try to keep it mildly spoiler-free as much as I could on mine, and also I was pretty drunk at the end of it too, because I did my review a little differently. If you go watch the video, you'll see what I mean. But overall, I like the movie just fine. And I guess that makes me a hater to you and Max for some reason. So
No, we were just teasing you, throwing jabs.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like, yeah, it's fun. It's good. You should go watch it. I do have some issues with regards to, and I've had these issues since Ragnarok, that especially in this movie, when you're trying to go for something a little bit more deadly serious, I don't need to immediately cut to a scene where they're debating about Ben and Jerry flavors, or where Drax's invisibility joke goes a minute too long. Like there's still kind of a tonal problem when it comes to the jokes, and part of it is I get it. I'm kind of jaded at this point. I know this is meant more for more fun adventure type stuff, and that feeds into that, and I'm perfectly cool with that. I'm glad the crowd I was with had a good time with it, but I don't know. That's one part of it, and the other part of it is the movie's great. The marketing behind it killed my enthusiasm for the next one, or not the next one, but killed my enthusiasm for how this one wraps up, because it's like, we know there's going to be a sequel. We know there's been a sequel for the past 3 years. So I knew exactly how this movie was going to end before I even went into it, just based off of that. I'm like, oh, here's what's going to happen, because I know what happens in the comics. They're going to do something like that, and half of your heroes are going to be wiped out. It's going to be depressing, or it's supposed to be depressing. It wasn't when I saw it, just because I'm like, they'll be back. You were sad about Doctor Strange, Dan. I guarantee he did some doohickey thing with the time stone before he went into the smoke.
But
he did some doohickey thing. He'll be fine.
Let me live in the moment, okay?
I guess, yeah.
It's okay.
Everyone who died pre-Rapture, I think, will stay dead.
Yeah, I do too.
Everyone who was sacrificed before that is going to stay dead, probably.
It's Quicksilver back. Yay!
Speaking of deaths, I was what Mike just said. I got locked in the moment when Tom Holland was having that interaction with Peter Parker. Like, I forgot there was a Spider-Man movie. I'm like, oh my god, Peter Parker's dying on screen. He's like, I don't want to go.
Don't get me wrong, like. The scenes are great. They're well put together. The acting is really well done. Like, the highlight for this movie for me was honestly the Thanos Gamora stuff. Yeah. I really enjoyed watching those two work together, because we've only been really hinted at how bad of a parent Thanos is. And now you get to kind of see that dynamic, not just with them in the present, but to see like how it all started. And that was actually kind of heartbreaking. Like, Thanos was my guy in this movie. This is the guy that everyone's been like, what's the big deal about this dude? And they made him a big deal in this movie.
Yeah, Thanos was really, really well done. I think Marvel really stuck the landing. And, the movie, it's not over yet until the next Avengers comes out. So the landing is still in process. But so far, they're really, really sticking to it. Because I like how some of the stuff in Age of Ultron had payoffs in this movie and other things that were set up. We got the return of Red Skull. Fairly brief, but I thought that worked well in the movie.
Yeah. And again, I'm glad the masses are enjoying this. I really am. I genuinely am. 10 years worth of payoff finally for anyone who's stuck with it. You know, this is obviously, you know, some people are saying like, well, it doesn't function as a movie on its own. I'm like, yeah, it's not supposed to.
No.
It's got a whole new set of rules to it. If you go into this cold, you're going to be hopelessly lost. So that's the problem for that. But at the same time, this is not that type of movie.
Yeah, a news site was taking a beating on Twitter because they said that the Avengers is a mess because it doesn't stand on its own. And somebody like chimed in and goes, "Did you just watch the end of Breaking Bad? Like, this doesn't make any sense." Like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is essentially a television series, and we just got our season finale.
Devil's advocate, I can kind of sort of see where that line of thought would come from because, again, I'm a weirdo. I watched Return of the Jedi first before I saw any of the other Star Wars, and that's still my favorite. And when I first saw it, I don't remember being like angry or ticked off that I was lost. Maybe because I was like 5, but at the same time, movies typically function like
all the time. Then.
Yeah, they typically function like a self-serving story, contained pretty well. In the case of like a franchise like say Star Wars, it's all one story. This is the first time you've had a franchise that's built up of many other stories finally meeting together at some point on the road. I don't think that's ever really been done before. Like movie trilogies, things like that, they're always following one particular narrative, one particular through line. Here you've got Avengers World, Guardians World, Spider-Man, any other stuff they decide to throw into the mix, they're all coalescing to make sense together finally. I
liked the pairings that they chose, putting Tony Stark with Star-Lord and Cumberbatch and Spider-Man. I thought that was a good thing. And then the highlights for me were Thor with Rocket and Groot. You bunny, like Max and I just kept laughing about that. That joke never got old.
Thank you, Bunny.
That rabbit joke, I don't know. The rabbit joke, I was like, okay, this is the 4th time you mentioned he's a rabbit. I'm done with this joke. But different strokes for different folks, whatever.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's fascinating because, like you, I did not like Thor Ragnarok like everybody else did, but I thought there was way too much joking. And then my opinion of this movie is they toned it back a little bit to let more of the stuff go. Because when we left the theater, my wife was like, I'm glad they had those jokes in this movie, or it would have just been dire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it needed a balance. There was just certain points where I'm like, we really want to try improving some lines right now. Like, what was it? The Ben and Jerry flavors thing. I'm like, guys, there's a spaceship coming. Do you really need to talk about your own personal flavors of Ben and Jerry's that have been made about you? This isn't important. And like I said, the Drax joke, I'm like, I get it. He thinks he's invisible. He's clearly not. Can we move to the next scene, please? Oh, I predicted what was going to happen. Mantis is going to show up and be, hi, Drax. I knew that was going to happen. I'm just like, okay, that was not worth it. Let's keep moving.
Yeah, they turned Drax into a buffoon for sure. But one of the funny lines was when Thor said the Avengers, and then Star-Lord's like, who are the Avengers? And he's like, Earth's mightiest heroes. And he's like, is Kevin Bacon part of the thing? And Thor's like, I don't know. I've been away for a while.
That's kind of the give and take with Marvel now. Like almost 70 to 80% of the characters are going to be smart asses.
Yeah.
So you have to, if that's not your cup of tea, you have to buckle up because there's a lot of smart asses in this movie.
But at least they didn't go for the Sherlock joke. They didn't try to throw one of those in there.
Yeah.
No, that one kind of just wrote itself in the subtext. I'm like, hey, Richie Sherlock meets Moffat Sherlock. I still like Moffat Sherlock better.
Yeah.
Dan, you got anything else to add about Avengers? What was your favorite parts?
I liked like every scene with Thanos.
Yeah, I did too. He's so good.
Dude knocked that shit out of the park, man. Also, I like the whole dickish narrative of Star-Lord. It's the whole time he's just like, let's just go with my plan. And when he's trying to pair off with Thor, it makes his voice deeper.
Yeah.
What happens at a certain point is technically his fault too. He fucked up royal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the whole end of the movie is Star-Lord's fault. But I did like Chris Pratt did have some really good acting moments in this movie too, which really surprised me.
The only part I really didn't vibe with, and I mentioned this on Facebook in a little discussion you and I and another friend of ours are having in my comments, is that this Guardians 2 takes place 2 years before this. So they've had time to kind of develop, between Guardians Volume 2 and this movie, obviously the relationship between him and Gamora has developed off screen pretty well, so that they're at that point. And we just kind of are getting in on that point with them right now. So when stuff happens and he experiences that tragedy, and the fact that he's still like spouting off pop culture insults at Thanos, I'm like, dude, your girlfriend is dead. Can you take this a little bit more seriously than that? But again, it's logic, and part of me has to kind of be like, oh yeah, well, he's basically an 11-year-old kid in a grown man's body, or mentally that's kind of how he is. So of course that's what he's going to go to.
But couldn't that be how he just deals with it?
Yeah, because that's how I am too.
That's eventually what I kind of came around to, was just like, okay, this is obviously his default thing. I'm playing psychology with his character.
It's just like keep on keeping on at that point, Yeah. Whatever. It worked before, it might work now.
But I just kind of felt sometimes it's like, we don't need a joke here. Like that part where he has him at gunpoint and he's got Gamora as the human shield. And he's just like, I will shoot your nutsack of a chin off. I'm like, you could just give him an intense look, dude. Wait, I don't need a joke for that. I get you're pissed.
Yeah, I make inappropriate jokes at bad times. I was making some at my grandma's funeral. And Liz was like, this is how you cope? I'm like, yes, this is how I deal with life.
Yes, indeed.
It's like, I get weird. How about you, Rondell? What was your favorite moment?
I guess I have to say, what's the actor's name? Face Trask. Seeing him.
Peter Dinklage.
Peter.
Oh, sorry. So they said Drax.
Peter. I was cool with Drax this time around. He's been funnier in previous movies. Hawk being a little punk. That was a highlight.
Yeah.
I think that was pretty much it. There was something else. I can't think of it.
There are good ideas in this movie. There are a lot of good ideas in this that you can see can have good payoff in the sequel. That Hulk thing. Like when he comes back, because Hulk's coming back in the sequel full force. It's going to be something special, because I feel, here's just my prediction. We'll see if I'm right in a year. That Banner's going to be like, nope. You know what? I'm the Hulk now, and we're gonna get like intelligent Hulk.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Great Hulk.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I really liked all of that play, and I mentioned this on Max and I's review, but this is the one continuity error I'm behind. Scarlet Witch lost her accent. Elizabeth Olsen did not have an accent in this movie. Thank God, because she was not good at it. So
once they reset everything and resurrect everyone, she'll be back with the accent. Won't that?
No!
And her brother will be back with his horrible accent.
Yeah, there we go.
Is that all we got to say about that?
Yeah,
it's pretty good. Rondell, how many geeks do you give it? Max and I went for 3. Did you know the geek rating system? It's 1 if you don't want to recommend it. 2 if you'd recommend it to a couple friends. 3 you're telling everybody to go see it.
Oh no, 3. It's still 3. Yeah, everybody should still go see it.
Dan?
Yeah, that's definitely a 3. I mean, yeah.
Awesome. Go to youtube.com/Mike McGTV to hear Mike's full drunk review of this movie. And everything else awesome he's got going on over there. We are going to be at Columbus Comic-Con. I have talked to Mike, and I've talked to Brian, and I've talked to John and Max, and we're going to have a rematch against them, and we'll find a way to get you involved on our team, Dan, so you could be there too. We're going to have a live rematch over on Mike McGTV and Remake Revolution, and that's going to be awesome. Well, granted, Wizard World finally gets back to us and tells us we can.
Can I be on the opposite team than Max?
Do you want to be on Staunch? What was their team name? Staunchcast?
Yeah, Staunchcast.
Sure.
Awesome. And then the last story I have for today is Allison Mack from Smallville fame. You might remember. Apparently,
we're doing this.
sex cult by Kristen Kruk, but Kristen Kruk, who was also on Smallville, got out before it got weird, and now Allison Mack is like second in charge of this huge sex cult. Mike, your thoughts? As the fellow Smallville fan, that's why we have Steven here. He's our Smallville expert.
Yeah, it's weird too because, you know, I'm always about like adding new programming into the mix for my channel, and I was like, I'm still gonna do it. I was gonna do like a Smallville series retrospective, like do, you know, just episode by episode or a couple of episodes at a time reviews. And then this happened, and I'm like, it's gonna make it super awkward to write scripts whenever it involves the Chloe character, because I don't care much for the Chloe character to begin with, but at the same time, it's like it's this weird like elephant in the room that if you don't address it at some point, everyone's gonna be like, "What do you think of this? What do you think of this?" I'm gonna be like, "It sucks that she went crazy." You know, and I mean, it especially sucks because she ended up hurting other people. And, you know, messing up other people because of this. So, yeah, I people are weird, man. And
I remember wondering, like, maybe it was a year ago. This was before, like, the first rumors of this started coming out, which was about a year ago. I was like, what happened to her? And I started Googling it, and she hadn't really done anything except for some voiceover stuff. Because I liked her on Smallville. I had a sort of a crush on her when the show was on, and I start to question some things. And
she's into some weird shit, dude.
All the victims out there
branding people with her initials.
Well, his initials, technically.
Well, it's both. It's his like vertically, and then if you look closely, it's hers horizontally or something.
Jesus, I didn't even.
Wow.
It's mess. Like there's a whole 2020 segment, a bunch of segments on it, and they have an interview. They have a video. I think his YouTube's still up. I don't know. I don't think they've taken it down yet, but they have her interviewing him as kind of like a promotional thing, and she gets like really emotional about what he's talking about, and like starts crying with joy. I'm like, oh, this is weird.
Great.
Dan, what are your thoughts on this news?
Yeah, that's some creepy shit, man. I mean. Like I agree with you. When I first saw Smallville, I mean, she's like the wholesome, you know, awkward character, and I was like, oh, you know, pat her on the head. Yeah, no, not now. like it just kind of ruins the character, because I read like some article about it like last month, and I was just like, the hell? And yeah, and none of that got any better. So.
Kids, just stay away from cults, man.
Yeah, no goofy ass sex cults with your Smallville stars, please.
if go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
It's just weird because, you know, like more's coming out about it, and then the Kristen Kruk thing, who played Lana, I didn't know that she was the one like initially that got Allison involved.
Well, from my understanding, it started out as kind of like this self-help, like it's a pyramid scheme. It was a pyramid scheme in origin. Essentially, and you know, those can range from being very benign to being extremely corrupt, but it eventually evolved into this. I guess
this is the Amway of sex.
Yeah, it is like kind of hollowing to hear about this stuff, and you're just like, man. And apparently, like, I heard through some Reddit posts and things like that, like, it's kind of rattled some of the other Smallville actors. Like someone apparently asked Michael Rosenbaum about it at a convention, and he just looked visibly like shaken about it. He was just like, I don't know what to tell you.
Rondell, did you ever watch Smallville?
No.
Steven, you got any comments?
I mean, it was crazy to hear about watching Smallville from season 1 through season 10 3, 4, 5 times in my lifetime. Like to hear like essentially Chloe, who is the chick in the show, she's Clark's crutch even when sometimes his parents can't be his crutch. Like it's insane to think that somebody who goes 10 years preaching nothing but how to be the best person that Superman can fucking be, winds up just being second in command of this female sex cult branding people. I think there was a little bit more about it, but I don't remember at all.
Yeah.
Outside of like the branding and I don't know if it was like trafficking or prostitution or whatnot, but
it delved very much into
Yeah.
that idea. Like basically you had high ranking people, from what I understand, who were the masters and people who had to be submitting to them for lots of stuff, be it financial stuff or sex or things like that. So yeah, it's some fucked up stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to watch Smallville again, I think.
any episode in that show where her character turns evil, you just got to be like,
that's what she's like in real life.
yeah. I mean, to be fair though, it's like sometimes it's easier to separate character from actor, but sometimes it's not. And with her and with everything Kevin Spacey's done, I've never. Cliff Huxtable and Bill Cosby, though, I'm like, okay, those are two separate entities.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never really watched the Cosby Show anyway, so I don't care.
Yeah, the guy who played Pete was into some shit too.
Oh, yeah, Pete. Well, I mean, I think his main thing. What was Pete's big thing?
Drugs, I think.
He got involved in like a drug distribution circle and filmed a sex tape with a Playboy bunny or something. I mean, I think he's okay now. He did like probation or something. And
so did he film the sex tape with the Playboy bunny like for the drug distribution place?
It might have all been at the same time.
Was it like an infomercial?
He was sent to jail for conspiracy to sell more than 10,000 pills of oxycodone in December of 2010.
Nice.
Okay.
So
I guess.
Yeah. So that was our show for today. It was short. We'll be back to our fuller length shows next week when I get the basement back together.
That was
Max,
really depressing. Okay.
yeah, we're gonna end on a depressing. Max will be back next week. Podcast Slips Now will be up on Tuesdays. Like I said before, go to youtube.com/Mike McG. Check out Mike's YouTube channel. Thanks to Steven, who is learning how to do stuff so he can take over so I don't have to do it while I talk, because it gets very distracting. And then you'll see like Dan just sitting on his couch while Mike is talking, because I'm so in depth into what Dan is saying that I forget to change the camera. So
I'm talking to you with my mind.
Anyway, go see Avengers Infinity War. I think we can all agree about that. It's awesome.
No sex cults. No sex cults. No sex cults.
Just go see Marvel. It's good.
Yeah, stay away from sex cults. I mean, if you're really that desperate, there's strip clubs. Anyway,
exactly.
Everybody at the Three Geeks Podcast, like, subscribe, review, leave us notes. If you're on iTunes, please take 2 seconds, rate and review. And then in Columbus, Max and I have 3 copies, brand new, of Star Wars: The Last Jedi to give away. We have 3 copies of Daddy's Home 2 for you to give away, and so much more. Pop figures.
The prizes were bigger.
Tune in to the Three Geeks Podcast. Bye.